Things are gone for you, baby.
You can release your, oh, it's streaming live. I will lay a gun now.
Yeah. We should better welcome people then.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, yeah. Cheers.
I think that come mash up with thing this morning. What do you think?
But I complain for Doc Pyke. I think we're on live now, though, Leo. Morning.
We are?
Yes.
Uh-oh. You sure?
There's something on my screen that says that we're live. But I'm going to check Jamaicans.com to see where we're live at.
I don't have anything live on Jamaica. Yes, we are. Oh my God, I'm whole heap of people are watching. Oh my God, it's a shame. Oh my God, I want to catch me. It's a good thing we weren't doing anything, right?
Yes, it's a good thing we're doing whole heap of things.
Oh my God, do you know that we've been live? And Michelle and Michelle is a good thing. Say Michelle never doing anything. It's a good thing Dan wasn't doing anything, and we are right. Oh my God. Good morning, everybody. It's Leo Gilling and Diana Davis-Smith and Michelle Fanger. Lord, it's good to see you now again. Me back at home. Michelle back at home. Diane still there home.
Yes, me still there. Nobody no file for me yet.
Nobody no file for Diana yet. Nobody. I don't want to come America, come mash up things, because we don't mash up things this morning already. Good morning, everybody.
Live for you.
Oh my gosh. I am so happy. I'm so happy that we are here. You know, I see that these two people have on Jamaica things. I want to go on with Jamaica this morning. What's going on?
Large today. Large today.
Well, just play it. Just play it, Mekosi. Play it, Mekosi. Play it, Mekosi.
Let me tell you, we women.
Yeah. Oh,
we
God.
women.
Are we going to go there this morning?
Yes.
Are we going to go there this morning? Are we going to go there this morning?
We women.
Peace. Look on it. Look on it. Hey, and
1, 2, 3.
Oh, and guess what? No? Our girl was coming back, you know. What's her name? The third place. Sharika coming back because she now look. I'm back in there and come back and come win and come third. Right?
She's now almost Miss Price.
Yes, look at that.
Miss Price nearly
She's now back. She's now back and she.
Yeah, look what it is. Look at
Watch me. Watch me. You might almost take price. You might almost take.
She almost take down price.
Almost take price. Me could do that. Man, we can't see it enough.
Great job. Great job. We did it.
You can't see it enough.
Bad.
Large. And as always,
oh
when
my
everything
God.
is falling apart, we have to win.
Oh, wow. You know, this is the third time in history. No, the second time.
Yeah.
I thought let me say 3 because we're going to go back 3 again. It's the second time in history. The first time in, I think it's 2012, we had 1, 2, 2. 1, first, second, and second.
Okay.
And now we have 1, 2, 3. That has never happened with any country inside of any kind of world. Not even up on a Mars. They can do that.
Wow.
Let me tell you.
Right.
Being Jamaican is not just about being Jamaican. It's almost like it's an experience.
Yeah, it is.
Being Jamaican.
It is. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of those 3 young ladies. Do you know that Sharika was a 400-meter runner?
Wow,
oh, she is.
It's a
400-meter finish.
A 400. I think she got the gold in the 400-meter in 2016 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And man, she come back wire to wire. Jesus, peace, me proud.
Let me tell you, she needs to get Miss Price.
Get Miss Price. But
2 more meters, 10 more meters, she take down Miss Price.
Let me ask something. I'm going to ask Michelle something. Michelle, does that feel good? Do you remember going across the line like that, you know, running and coming first or second or third? Don't answer that question. Let me go to Diana. Diana, you ever remember?
Yes, yes, I know exactly how it feels. Um, I always just walk up to the line and walk across. That was
If
never
I
one
was
of
in
my
that
skills.
race, as soon as he start, me drop right on my face.
No, man, that wasn't my skill. You couldn't do that.
Michelle said, as soon as he started drop right by the face. Hey, we can't tell her what I'm going with Michelle, you know, because Michelle, she's like, it's like she always end up somewhere on something, you know? On the ass, and drop off of the ass, and drop off the
So
four
it
bike.
happened.
I mean,
Accident prone.
Michelle, what do you say?
I don't know.
We want to say you're bad.
oh. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this morning we have so much to talk about, but how could we not talk about the 1, 2, 3? We've done this so much. Jamaica, when Jamaicans go in our race, everybody else looks to see, okay, Jesus, I'm God. Is it, Isat, how are you today?
That's an Isat.
Who's that?
Michael Smith.
Oh,
Michael Smith. Oh.
how you doing? I'm early. How you doing, sir?
I call you early, you're on time, and you're properly tired.
We have two. You know, I think I am on top now. 3 men and 2 women. I've been diseased with 2 women and me alone. Now we have 3 men.
We're still outnumbered, you know that.
Lord of mercy. Tell me about it, Jesus.
We are the women that had to carry Jamaica.
Exactly. So that them all could be proud here this morning.
Exactly. Thanks to us women.
But what kind of cup do you drink with a virgin? Let me see that cup there. It looks like a Michelle cup.
Look like a Michelle cup.
Is that Jackson? What is that?
Is that above all else, love each other deeply?
Oh, Lord of mercy.
That's what it says.
Put on that cup, we not love Leo, you know.
No, man, you have to show everybody love, man, even Leo.
So, Michelle, go to the enamel cup, we need to lick Leo in him head.
So, all right, we start off real quickly because I want to find out about these gentlemen. Michael Smith, good day to you, my virgin. How you do?
I'm well, thank you. Good day to you as well, Leo.
And I noticed that you're wearing the green, gold, and the black. If it were last week, Saturday morning, you would not be wearing the green, gold, and the black.
Why not? I wear it probably every day of the week.
All right. Okay, so let's go on. And I'm asking the ladies to join in because I want to find out where these guys come from, who they are. All right. First of all, let's go to Dr. Oneil Pyke. I love that name. Which part you come from, Bridget? Where you come from?
I'm from Hopewell. Hanover. Went to Cornwall. Then
oh, my uncles go to Cornwall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come on, it's a proud Cornwall College, oh boy.
All right.
And then I came here for college and medical school and been living here for 37 years. So it's been
wow. Oh, say they a long time.
A long time. But
country boy come at town. Country boy
don't have it just reach. That's by design.
Yeah.
All right, and Michael, tell me what's in a virgin.
So I'm currently living in Montreal, Quebec, in Canada, but born and grew in Santa Cruz. And at a young age, we came up to Montreal, and I've been here ever since. So I'm the current president of the Jamaica Association of Montreal Foundation.
Oh, okay. Good to have you, my virgin. Good to have you. Oh my God! And so, you know, we had a lot of things going on in Jamaica, and we just want to talk a little bit about all of the issues before, you know, we get kicked off of the station here. Well, let's talk about vaccine hesitancy. Doc Pyke. I know you.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on by you, Michael, but you know, one of the reasons I actually interacted with some colleagues down here. I'm in Miami now. Just relocated to Miami for a job in the Jackson Health System. So I'm one of the chief medical officers in the Jackson Health System, and I was disappointed because one of the things that, you know, I have the task of doing is reviewing all the COVID deaths. And ever since I got here, one of the things that was really disappointing was it's mostly black and brown people. And then when you dissect it out even more, we found out it was primarily people who are unvaccinated. And among that unvaccinated, many of those were actually Jamaicans. And,
Jamaicans?
Jamaicans, yeah. So I was I was actually surprised. The first time I actually realized that was even a reality. I was on a panel discussion a couple of weeks back, and the mayor of Broward County here, which is just north of me, was saying that, you know, because in his county where I live, a lot of the black folks down here are non-English speaking, Haitians and otherwise. But in Broward, it's a lot of Jamaicans, and they have a very low percentage of vaccinations.
Well,
yeah, so when I heard about this as an opportunity to talk about it, because one of the things about medicine is that it's one thing for a doctor to say, you've probably had the experience of a doctor telling you, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And you could see that that person, that physician themselves was not living that kind of scenario. They weren't eating right. They were probably overweight. Some of them even smoked. I remember I've been in medicine long enough to know that, to see when doctors used to smoke at the nurse's station, you know? So it's like that. And here we are, a situation where myself, my entire family, parents, siblings, I have 2 siblings who are also physicians in New York. All of us, every single one of our eligible family members are vaccinated. And the reason we did that is because we read the reports. We looked into this. We researched ourselves. I myself, from March of last year until February, when I relocated here for this job, I was personally caring for people in a COVID-19 unit, and it was distressing. But I was in an area where I wasn't even caring for my own people. These were folks in the middle of Pennsylvania. And it broke my heart then. And I came here, and it was a heartbreaker again to see that folks were not getting vaccinated, and they're dying. They're literally dying. What are
the reasons that you're hearing people saying why they are not vaccinated? They don't want to be vaccinated.
It really spans a gamut. I'm folks say they're not putting that stuff in my body. I've talked to women who are of childbearing age, who are very concerned about their ability to get pregnant later and all that kind of stuff. I've had folks just literally say, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. And I even spoke to a close friend of mine who went to college, and out of the blue, she called me, and we talk occasionally. And she's a smart person, very a CPA, and she, same thing. And I think the world we live in now is fueled by news coming from so many sources, and we don't know what's fact versus fiction.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that is what's really confusing a lot of people, because 10, 20 years ago, I didn't see folks doubting what doctors said or what scientists said before. But now it's like, you say it and then you even do it. That's a crazy thing. I mean, you even do it. I get it myself. Because, for example, full disclosure, caring for patients all that time until August, I was fine. I had my mom going and stuff. Well, I went to California for a meeting because I thought things had kind of, come down a little bit. And I got COVID. And it almost put me down completely.
Okay.
I'm not a very big man to begin with. I mean, I'm tall, but I'm kind of mager. And I lost almost 20 pounds.
Full disclosure.
Yeah, full disclosure. I almost lost about 20. I lost almost 20 pounds when I had COVID. I was out for a month and a half.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I convalesced at my mom's home, 50-year-old, and I'm convalescing at my mom's home. She kind of quarantined me in the corner, and she was bringing me 5 meals a day. I'm not kidding you. And this is how bad it was. I was getting 5 meals a day. 5. And I'm not talking piam meal.
That's mama. That's mama for you, right?
Right. And by the way, this is a funny thing, because I don't eat meat generally. But so when I went there, my mom, she said, every single meal came with a cup of goated soup. I don't know where she get it from, but every meal came with goated soup. And so that was what I was eating for a month. and I still lost 20 pounds. That's what this is like.
Wow.
So
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Did you get the vaccine before you caught COVID, or was after you got the vaccine?
No, man, this is well before. So the vaccine was never, this was last year, August, that I got sick.
Okay.
And so I was sick the whole month of September. Yeah. And then I got vaccine in December of last year.
How about your colleagues in the health field? Nurses, doctors, pediatricians, are they taking the vaccine?
So that's an interesting. I can talk specifically about my health system. And in my health system, upwards of 90% of the doctors have been vaccinated, especially the, we're talking about youth not getting the vaccine. Right. Almost all the residents in our health system, and Jackson Health System is a big health system. We have a lot of resident physicians. Over 90% of them got the vaccine. The nurses have been a little more hesitant, unfortunately, but they too have gotten the vaccine. But still, we're in the 60% range. So you're talking about 40% of people. Now, this is a surprising thing. Respiratory therapists, they were a big part and continue to play a big part in the care of COVID-19 patients. Right. And their percentage was even lower than nurses. They were in the 40% who've gotten vaccinated. 40%? 60% of them didn't. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And they've
seen respiratory nurses. What? That's horrible.
These are the persons who see it up front exactly what is happening.
Yeah.
And the care that is required. There must be some, you said earlier that you found that us Jamaicans were the ones predominantly not taking up the vaccine.
Yeah.
Do you think we need to be coaching the urge some other way other than saying, hey, for you? Should we be saying it's for the other person?
So, it's like you have to use everything, right? So I think that, number one, we can't really talk about the vaccine hesitancy without actually mentioning in the United States, right. US has a storied history of running experiments on Black and brown people, right? Yeah. And we have to recognize that that's in that context, because here, and even in Jamaica, throughout the Caribbean, similarly. So I understand when people hesitate with regards to this one, but this is not one of those times. And we have to convince people that this is not one of those times. There's no exit out of this pandemic without us actually realizing that we're all in this together. And when in our health system, and as a matter of fact, I just saw the Florida Hospital Association. So it's not just Jackson. I got a report this morning. The Florida Hospital Association now goes over the entire state, and over 96%. In our system is 90%, but across Florida, over 96% of the people who are hospitalized with COVID-19 are unvaccinated. Oh. That is mind-blowingly convincing that this is something that's working. Now, remember, I think the error that people have in their minds sometimes is that they thought the vaccine would prevent COVID-19. It's a vaccine. It doesn't prevent it. What it prevents is severe illness, hospitalization, and death. That's it. That's it.
If I can add,
and that is significant. I think that we need to push to persons that strike death. The hospitalization, that experience is not good. The level of illness that any COVID victim goes through is really not good. And I think we need to probably find ways, Leo, to share that part of the message that, look here, you think it's tragic? Try get sick and have to be in the hospital.
Michael, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Yes. Here in Canada, and I speak specifically for Montreal, it's almost mirror the situation in that there's the level of mistrust that's there. And so from the community standpoint, in collaboration with our health system, we're trying to push the idea of it's more about the community. I'm at home with my father, who's an elderly man, has health issues and so forth. And so based on where I work, I was able to jump the line a bit to get my first and second vaccines. And I did because I know I have somebody who I have to be concerned about.
Right.
Because I work somewhat in the healthcare system as well. And so I risk exposure. And I feel that if I was to get sick, I would be okay. But then I would put him at risk if I got sick. And especially with the period of asymptomatic where I could have it and not know it for a few days before developing any symptoms. And then during that period, I could get him sick. And then, as said before, with the severity of illness, with the risk of death, and when you're talking about the elderly, this is what happens. The death is sort of the first thing at the top of the list by way of risk.
Yes.
So we are pushing and trying to get people to understand that it's not, you're making a choice individually, but you have to think communally, like about the community and how it affects the community if the less and less that we are vaccinated. And to a point within our health system, our caregivers, our nurses, especially the caregivers, we call them nurses attendants, are predominantly from the Caribbean, people of Black and Brown. And so they need to also understand that the importance of it. But you do have it all around where there's the conspiracy theories, the mistrust because of what happened, you know, Tuskegee's brought up so many times, and other things. And I'm like, you know, this is a global thing.
Yes.
And if our governments globally cannot coordinate and cooperate, how do you think they're going to get together to do this plan to try and eliminate Black and Brown people, which is a common theme? So it really is a difficult situation. And I feel for those in healthcare. I know many nurses, work practitioners who are burnt out. And we have a shortage right now in the emergency and other places here in Montreal.
Well, interesting. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just have a quick question in regards to children. As you know, I have a 3-year-old, and I know in Florida it's breaking out. So do you know of any recommendation that they have for children? Because I know our governor said no school can mandate the mask wearing to protect the children, and they're not qualified yet to get the vaccine. They don't they haven't secured a vaccine for that age group. What recommendation you have for going back to school and for these young children?
Oneil.
Yeah, that's a tricky one because this pandemic has been unfortunately politicized in the US, actually across the world, and in Brazil same way, and it's really come at the cost has been borne by much of the poor people in general. Now, children are a unique bunch because they're still working on getting vaccine for under 12, right? But right now it's not recommended. And I'm concerned because with the new variant that's actually circulating here in Florida and across the US, and likely getting up to you there, Michael, in Quebec, is the Delta variant. And it's more virulent, it's more easily transmissible. And those two qualities of a virus are particularly dangerous. And to just to answer earlier point, Michael, I know you're doing this for your dad, but I've had 20-something-year-old, 30-something-year-old, and 40-something-year-old die in my hospital just in the last few weeks, and that is just disheartening. And that's just one of those things. So it's really important for us to understand that even though, for the most part, the folks who are older or have comorbidities, and that's always going to be the case, that they're going to be more at risk for having untoward events with this, right? But children, I'm really concerned, but we don't have a good answer for it yet, Michelle. I think right now, if you are in an area, the recommendation is that you kind of wear the mask. Now, remember, this is the bad thing about the mask wearing, is that if one person wears a mask, like I see there's Michelle, Dolly, and someone else, if two people are wearing a mask, you are protecting each other. If one person has COVID, to the tune of 80 or 90%, that the chance of you actually transmitting is very low. If only one person wears a mask, though, especially the mask that like what Michelle is wearing right there, it's a much lower risk. You're talking just half, right? Maybe 60% at most, because those masks, as you can see from the sides, a lot of things go through. And we learn early on that this is airborne, that it can, as you breathe, it's right there. It's one of the droplets that's been kind of described much like chicken pox.
Yeah.
That is just, it's kind of suspends in the air a little bit, and you can just kind of, get it like that. So the mask is very important, but I think that is just about the simple things. Like we've been reminding now that simply washing your hand is so, so important, because as we're sitting here, so Diana touching our face.
I just did.
No, but Diana, you're not alone. We touch our face dozens and dozens of times per day. And so it's hard. I mean, we sit like this all the time. And as you do that, your hand is one of the biggest reasons we actually transmit this thing. We shake somebody's hand or we touch something, and surfaces is not as much of a problem as coming in contact with someone else. And I think that's the piece of it, so.
All right. All right. So here's something that's unique. I called this a few months ago. I said, once America, because I have to speak on America, once we get to majority of the population being inoculated, there's a high likelihood that the whole thing going to turn. You're going to start hearing, if you're not inoculated, you can't come a party. I mean, this is turning into now, because I've seen the big guys, the tech guys, I'm coming to you, Michelle and Silvanos, soon. But I've seen those big guys starting to say, you cannot come to work unless you're inoculated. And I remember, so I'm hitting two things at one time. Once upon a time, we could have been inoculated for polio and all of these things without any problems. But now it's a problem because people are talking, my rights, my legal rights, all right, and so forth. And where do you see this going? But all of you, even Silvanos, you can answer that, all three of you.
Yeah, you know what? For example, the veterans system, I've worked in the U.S. veterans system, taking care of patients over the last many years, 2 decades. And they've been leaders in a lot of these initiatives. And they have actually talked about that. The president talked about it just, I think, yesterday or the day before, about mandating for federal. This is something that happens all the time. For example, pre-COVID, if I was compelled by my health system to get the flu vaccine, it was not an option.
Yeah.
And so that was
is that right? Okay.
Yes. So this is not new with regards to compelling you to do something. And if I didn't, I had to actually wear a mask pre-COVID. I had to do that in the hospital.
Okay.
And so there are a few people in the health system that had waivers for it because they had, for example, a very bad reaction to a prior, flu vaccine and such. But for the most part, that's it. And we're right now about half the country that have gotten at least, both doses, and at least in the US here. But we're talking like if we get to like about the 75-ish%,
yes,
we'll be a little bit better,
Right.
because the virus has a way, because even though right now I think the overwhelming consensus is that if I'm vaccinated, as I am, and I'm in the midst of someone and I get the virus, I might not have symptoms, but can I spread it to somebody else? And the answer is yes.
Okay.
And that's a question we've been asking for quite a bit. And it's yes with a caveat. We're not 100% sure about it, but there's a study that was just done in Massachusetts that they had a whole community that got a lot of people vaccinated who had COVID. But the most important endpoint there was that people did not die, people did not get severely ill.
Okay.
And that was the main thing that this is trying to prevent.
Let's go to Michael. Give me your response on that.
I just want to pause because usually we've failed to acknowledge our past.
Oh my God!
No, I saw them, but because it's so interested with all the information, people bear with us. We will go through them at the end.
We'll go to them after this.
Yeah,
Okay,
because so
Michael
much
and
information.
Silvanos. Yeah, let's get Michael and Silvanos, and we come to you people. I mean, I know you're having fun because the numbers are pretty high here.
Yes, and they're talking about reluctance in Jamaica, particularly people overseas are commenting that yes, they had the juice to convince their parents in Jamaica to take the vaccine. But go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I think one of the most standout things that I saw in regards to vaccine and vaccinations also was the misinformation around the mRNA vaccines and the thought that they developed it so quick, right? And so I posted something somewhere where they basically said the initial vaccines were created in about 3 days, right?
Oh.
But because the technology, mRNA technology, has been around for 20 years, right? And so because it was around and they've used this and they're studying, and when you look at the SARS-CoV-2 virus, it's a form of the flu, but a more deadly form. So they already are creating flu vaccines. So when this came out and with the technology, they were able to develop the vaccine that much quicker, and it went through the trials. And so this is why the vaccines didn't come out till later in 2020. And everybody's, it didn't go through the 3 to 5 year testing. It didn't go through this, that, but they're not really reading and looking into the sources, the credible sources, like the FDA or the CDC or whoever it is that approves them. They're just looking at all the YouTubers who are saying they used to do this or they used to do that. And it feeds into the emotional mistrust that some people have. And this is what's perpetuating the lack of vaccination. And luckily in Canada, we are a little bit ahead of the US in regards to the percentage of people that are vaccinated. It's we're close to 60 now, but there's still a push, and we have the younger age group is still that's the new campaign we're looking at they call it youth, but it's 18 to 30.
Okay.
The vaccination rate is somewhere around 20 to 30%. It's really the majority of the vaccine hesitancy is in that age group. But they're the ones that are going out, they're partying, they want to hang out with friends and all of that. And so they're more at risk than anyone else. And so we're trying to target that group. And as Leon said, the younger age group, under 12 is not approved for vaccine yet. And the over 12, they're just starting to introduce it to the 12 to 17, but it's still a slow ride.
Thank you, Michael. I want to hear. So we have Michelle from Rattrap. We have to separate the two Michelles. One is from Jacksonville and the other one is from Rattrap.
No, one is from Uptown.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Uptown. And then we also have Sylvanus Thompson, and Sylvanus is also a medical expert here. So I'd like your input, Sylvanus, on where are we going with vaccinations? There's gonna become a time when they're gonna say you better get it or not, or you're out.
Can he tell us also where he's at? Where he's from and where is that?
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So Sylvanus Thompson from Thompson Town.
So, in Clarendon, Sylvanus, don't forget.
Listen, a Clarendon College past student.
All right.
The other CC.
Yeah. No.
No. Only you don't get that.
I'm liking you right now.
Yeah, the real CC. Right? And
Clarendon.
you have to pass through Moko to
Hey, listen. I was in Montego Bay when Clarendon College came to play Cornwall College in football, and I wore the whole day at the Jarrett Park.
Yeah,
it was back in the 80s, all right?
Yeah,
so I know. CC and CC. Who's the real CC? All right.
Right. And we all know that, right? So back to the vaccine thing, right?
Yeah, man.
So already in Canada, we are seeing where there's a big separation between vaccinated and unvaccinated. And I took my mask off, right, briefly, because both Michelle and myself, we are fully vaccinated, right? But we still wear masks indoor, right? But for this brief moment, I took my mask off. The Health Canada recommendation, Health Canada, is that for fully vaccinated people, even indoors, if you're comfortable, you can take your mask off, right? I don't like the term comfortable, but that's all right. That's the term I'm still using, right? It's a little, right? So I took my mask off briefly. But already we're seeing that, Leon and Leo, even for restaurants, there are some restaurants are saying, if you're vaccinated, you can go inside. If you're not, you'll have to dine on the patio. So we're already seeing quite a bit of that. The Pearson Airport, and I think elsewhere, they were considering 2 lines, 1 line for vaccinated person and 1 line for
Oh,
unvaccinated.
they were
Considering, but they kind of pulled that back.
this is dangerous now. This is dangerous ground. It's
I know,
dangerous
and
ground.
that's why they changed, and they give a nice little reason, but that's okay, cool. So, but in Canada, to a great extent, hesitancy is not a big problem. The big problem in Canada is with the Black community, the African Canadians, right? The highest level of hesitancy is within the Black community. A number of studies have shown that, right? And the challenge with that is that the highest risk, right? I know that Michael talk about youth, but as a community, the Black community is at a higher risk than any other community of getting COVID, right? For a number of reasons, including occupation, the place we live and all that kind of stuff. So we know that. So we have a problem where the highest hesitancy is within the community with the highest risk, okay? And what we want to touch on, and this comes down to what we're currently doing here, is barrier versus hesitancy. Is it hesitancy or is it barrier, right? So what we're doing at the JCA, working with a number of other organizations, is trying to create a barrier-free access to vaccines. So, we tell the people, okay, we get them to, move from the hesitancy or move from the, this defense, but then there's no vaccine, right? So we want to make sure that the vaccine is available to them. So we take it to them within the community, and that's what we're currently doing here at the JCA today.
I can show off my shirt. Let me show off my shirt.
Oh, shut
I'm a volunteer.
So this is our 3rd clinic here at the JCA. We have vaccinated over 5,000 persons already from the African Canadian community. These are persons who would not go to a mass vaccination clinic. They're not going to line up from 12 o'clock to get a vaccine that they didn't want in the first case. They will do that for the new Nike. They will do that for the new game. They will do that for everything else. But they're unlikely to do that for the vaccine. Going onto the mass vaccination site and having computer challenges or even a phone, they're not gonna do that. So we take the vaccines to them within the community, and so far it's it's very, very successful. It's a kind of festive atmosphere. We have Jamaican food, of course. We have Jamaican music. We have giveaways.
Nice.
And this weekend, because it's Emancipation Weekend, we're having something specific to emancipation, as a part of a clinic also.
Excellent.
So it's really addressing barrier rather than hesitancy.
All right, so here's why I say it's dangerous, right? Some people take this thing very well. They should. They take it very seriously because their life they're talking about, right? And if persons who are inoculated start getting that virus again, then you're gonna find some anger. You remember the first time when in Portmore when they announced that there was some problem with a particular business in Portmore, and the whole of Portmore left Portmore and gone to Montego Bay and Ocho Rios. Remember that? All right. So no one wants their lives to be at risk by anybody else. So you're gonna find people who are saying, "Are you vaccinated? If you're not vaccinated, don't come close to me," that kind of thing. If it gets,
start doing it already.
It can be a very serious thing, but interpersonally and socially, So, Michael.
Again, there's the big push now. The big discussion that's causing also more vaccine hesitancy and concern is around the idea of a vaccine passport or a proof of vaccination. And people bring it up already. There's certain countries that you can't visit without actually being vaccinated prior. So it's nothing new. Here in Canada, when children are born, they go through a vaccine protocol in the first couple of years, and you cannot register them for school. You can't enroll them into school without your proof of vaccination. And now this is just one additional one. But people are concerned, and the concern is still here in Quebec. We still do the masks are required indoors for if you go to a bar or any other public place. Outdoors, it's your choice, but indoors you still have to wear the mask as well. So I haven't heard of anybody saying like, "Are you vaccinated?" and if not, from me or nothing like that. But I'm sure it has happened.
Michelle, let's take some comments. I'm sure the people in my dead feet here.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay. If you see the questions, take them too.
Yeah, Derek says, yes, you're live. Denny Mac says, yes, you're not live. Don Hall, you are live. Bonnet Rose says, yes, you are live. Denny Mackey said, 1, 2, 3 in a halfway tree. Donette Rose said, good rising, everyone. Nancy Brown said, good morning, my fellow Jamaicans who are looking good today at the Olympics. We were talking about the Olympics
earlier. Yeah.
Right.
Nancy Brown said, 1, 2, 3. Annie Max said, "Grab on a pat cover. 1, 2, 3, inner." Simone Davis says, Jamaica to the world. Denny Max, and it came to pass on Saturday, July 31st, 2021. Elaine Thompson, the gold medalist from the 2016 Rio Olympics, 100 and 200, defended her title and showed Jamaicans and people across the world she's number one hit wonder.
Yes,
Yeah,
my
not
girl,
only
my
did
girl.
she defend her title, she set a new Olympic record. Let's go for everybody. Carla, congratulations. Ruth Watts, Sandra Sterling said good morning, good morning. Melrose Mason. A lot of people were saying good morning and congratulations. So I'm trying to get down to the vaccine.
So good morning, everybody. So we can skip the good morning people,
Yes,
right?
good morning, everyone. Okay, so Nancy Brown says, first we need to understand why the people are not taking the vaccine. It goes deeper than what we have been acknowledged first, so people are skeptical. What was never been acknowledged first, so people are skeptical. Nancy Brown said, we are better informed, so we can make informed decisions. Anne-Marie Harvey said, I, along with my sons, took the vaccine. I could not convince my 70-year-old mother to take it. She's back in Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
And Anne-Marie, okay, Arthur said, Dong said, nobody like mama. That was when you were talking about your mom. It's with the soup. Anne-Marie said, it's good you still have an appetite, Dr. Pyke. Nancy Brown says, if you take the vaccine, you can still contract COVID. There is no 100% proof to the impact either way. Marcia, there's no, I guess she said, no proof for the impact either way of taking the vaccine.
Yeah, Michelle, I'll respond to that, especially since I have to sign off in a second and head into work. But just to respond to that, for anyone who's listening, the vaccine was not intended to actually prevent the virus from actually, doing what it's doing in terms of being spread. It was only intended to actually prevent severe illness and hospitalization. And that's what vaccines do, and going all the way back in history, kind of a medical historian myself, and, going back to even the polio vaccine, that was it. We have to stop the spread. The spread is actually the thing. And even though you can still get it, as we've proven that can still, people get COVID even after being vaccinated. You're not as ill. You're not going to be hospitalized a lot of times. In fact, in our health system, we are the #1 transplant center in the US here. And that's the overwhelming number of patients who were hospitalized after being vaccinated with COVID are the transplant patients, because their immune systems are not what it used to be. So the recommendation is still to absolutely get the vaccine. And the one thing I'll leave with you is this.
Yes.
The fact that medical professionals, the physicians who are actually ordering the vaccine, are actually taking the vaccine, do what we do. Understand that we're not going to actually put ourselves and our families in harm's way without actually really studying this thing to a certain detail. I have my younger brother who's a surgeon in New York. Is an absolute, he won't even mind me saying this, he's an absolute nerd. And I mean, I'm a nerd too, but he's like a nerd's nerd. He studies and he dissects and he goes into really good detail about things. And a lot of the information that I even got was from him, because he does such a detailed deep dive into things. And he was the first one in line. And he was on the front line himself doing, because he wasn't doing surgeries, he was actually there doing interventions with patients in New York when this was all going on. And he actually never got sick. He never got COVID. But
he never got soup, huh?
No, he did. He got soup.
He got soup?
Okay. He got soup. He got the goated soup, but he didn't get COVID. As a matter of fact, it's a good point, Dan. He didn't really deserve or need the goated soup.
Dr. Pyke, thank you so much for coming in.
So
I know you are invited on the show anytime, because you have the knowledge to make we bright. And we know
No,
say bright, and Michelle not bright, and me not bright outside.
Right. Excuse, speak for yourself.
Yeah, Leah,
Yeah,
talk
just speak for
yourself.
Diana, it was
Diana
such
and
a
Michelle.
pleasure having you. I look
Brilliant.
forward to having
Well, thank you
again.
much, Michael. Good to meet you guys, Michelle,
Nice
Dolly,
meeting
and
you.
Dr. Sylvan.
And
Good to meet
when
you.
I'm in your neck of the woods at the mall, though, I'll let you know.
Yes, please do, please do, please do. I'm not gonna come with you, but yes. All right. Take
All
care.
right, so we have ignored Michelle from Rat Trap all morning.
No, we can't.
You
We
want me
can't
to finish your
ignore
comments
Michelle
first?
from Rat Trap. You mad?
You want me to finish reading the comments before we move
Yes,
on?
yes. Okay, all right.
Michelle from Rat Trap.
Marcia
Michelle from
Moody
Rat Trap, what
says,
you do?
Hold on.
Marcia Moody said, my health system is going with mandatory vaccines.
Good.
Eva said, come on, people, vaccinated. We will never get over this if we don't do our part.
Yeah.
My 95-year-old mother and 98-year-old aunt have both been vaccinated with no ill effects. You all take medications that you don't know what's in them. You have all taken numerous vaccine. You're killing yourself with food that's not good for you. It does not need to put a chip in you to spy on you. Your cell phone already does that.
Don't be caught with it,
To all the crap out there.
He's doing good. Keep going.
Take care of
Cost them
yourself.
good.
You know,
I love your loved ones. Marcia Moody said you can't get into college here without vaccination. I did feel that college is asking and requiring it.
Yes.
okay.
Marcia Moody says everybody with COVID in Georgia hospitals are unvaccinated. Leroy says, so true, Dr. Pyke. Sandra said, glad you recovered and is doing well, Oneil. Charlie Palmer said, that's what needs to be told to people. I guess the information that you guys are giving today.
Yes.
Ava said, you take a flu vaccine every year, but you still get the flu. You just don't get it as severe and die. Same with this vaccine. It does not. That is true. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Okay. Leroy said it's contagious as measles. Marcia Moody said it's so disheartening. Ava says, parents, protect your children. Do not let the aunties and others tell you otherwise. Your primary job is to keep them safe. So please let them wear their masks.
All right, so let's hold the comments now for now. Let's hear from these guys now. Thank you so much for all your comments. It's great. Thank you so much. Me like when I participate with me because it means that
enough man today.
Huh? Enough today. Right?
Yeah,
all right.
Engaging.
So we could go to Michelle from Rat Trap. Michelle.
Michael, you know where Rat Trap is?
Yes.
You know which one Rat Trap, Michael?
Well, he said it earlier today, so you said it earlier.
Oh yeah. So Michelle, you know Michael, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay. So Michael, you have an event coming up?
We both have events
We
coming
all
up.
have events coming up. This is Canada. We go hard.
All right, go tell me what I have a go on. Tell me what I have a go on.
Michelle, tell me what I want.
Yes, Michelle, tell me what I go on.
All right, so we're having 2 sets of events.
Hold on, you have two sick. Come, we can't hear you.
The mask.
We're safe together, so I remove my mask for the moment. So we, like last year, we had, all right, so COVID taught us, one of the good things that came out of COVID, because I know we've been talking about a lot of negatives, is that the organization, the Jamaican Canadian organizations around Canada, most of us came together to sort of band together to celebrate. Because, you know, we'll come from a yard. We have to find a way for do this.
Absolutely.
And so we did things virtually last year. And I think, Michael, we maybe came onto Leo's show last year, if I recall.
Yes.
I know we did a few together to really celebrate Jamaican Canadian coast to coast. So this year we're keeping that synergy. We're doing one event that's coast to coast, and Michael is working on that one. And then Sylvanus and I are in Toronto because what many people don't know is that JCA started the same year that Jamaica got independence. So every time we celebrate Jamaica independence, we're also celebrating JCA's anniversary.
Yeah, that's nice.
So next Saturday, we're gonna have Canadians coming together coast to coast to celebrate. 3 to 5. Michael, you tell me which time.
2 to 5.
2 to 5. Okay. And then as that's done, we're going to jump right over to JCA where we're going to have our party and award people who have served the community all year and or long serving members and all of that.
What does that
So it's
mean?
big things.
JTA or JTA? Sorry, what is that?
JC,
So
Jamaica
we are
Canadian.
at the Jamaican Canadian Association
Okay.
Center.
So it's Jamaican Canadian Association of Canada. I'm kidding. Jamaica
I'm in
Canadian.
the Marcus Garvey Library, so I just had to show that off,
Yeah, show up now. You understand?
Up top, because we're the cultural hub.
So
And
now,
that's what-
I do the coast to coast again this year. Whole heap of things are going. All 10 organizations involved. 10.
9 this year.
Nine.
9 this
Nine.
year. I can pull up the list. It's 9 this year, simply because the JCA in Toronto is doing their own event, but then we have decided to come together to make sure that it's a seamless thing. So we're doing the coast to coast celebration, and then after that we switch over to the JCA in Toronto, their anniversary event. So I can give you the list of organizations.
Yeah,
so you
just
have the
do that real
Jamaican,
quick for us. Give us that.
Yes.
This is the list of the organizations that are running coast to coast Canada. Okay, go ahead.
From east to west, or we say from left to right. So Jamaica Cultural Association of Nova Scotia, the Jamaica Association of Montreal Foundation, as well as the Jamaica Association of Montreal, the Jamaica Ottawa Community Association, the JCA in Toronto, Windsor West Indian Association, which is also in Ontario, Jamaica Association of Manitoba, the Jamaican Canadian Cultural Association of British Columbia, and the Jamaica Canadian Association of Alberta. So we're represented from one coast to the next.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Silvanos, Jamaica having a problem with, I'm trying to understand. Is it that we're having a hesitancy problem, or we have a no vaccine problem? What is the problem?
So Leo, I kind of love that question because I asked the same question, right? You don't have vaccine, how can you say you have hesitancy, right?
Yeah.
That is changing. I see where they get 300 doses coming up.
300
the mass vaccine against that.
Starting today.
So people are saying, yeah, I will not take the vaccine, but they're saying that they will not take the vaccine that they didn't even have, right? So I think once they have the vaccine, they will push out another push, right? And I was on Power 106 with Durban last week, and I talk about getting the vaccines into those rural communities. We're talking again about access, about barrier-free access, right?
Right.
So persons will not travel from Rattrap to Montego Bay to get a vaccine.
No.
We take the vaccine to
We don't have no fear.
Savlamar or wherever,
And
they will get it. So it's Leo, it's really a great question, whether it's hesitancy or access, right? Because if you don't have it, then people can always say anything. Once you have it, then you really push up people getting it.
Because last week, Dan and I were up in your neck of the woods, right? Close to Thompson Town. And some people, which one we in there?
yeah, we went to Thompson Town, actually, Sylvanus, because we went Summerfield, Beckford called, come back.
Yes.
Stop and go, and then came up at Thompson Town.
We see 3 people sitting on the side, and they must sell something in a glass, in a buckle. And we say, what that? They say, I'm busy. I say, oh, busy. What that good for? She say, COVID.
Busy cure everything. Man, I know about COVID though. I grew up on the biggest busy tree around town.
Oh my God.
Also call it benefit Milo, because everybody are benefit to come for busy. Busy
All right.
is a good thing.
Can anybody share anything on Ivectin? What's the name of it? Invectin? What's the name of that one?
Yeah.
That Jamaica want, but they don't want it, and they want it, and they don't want it.
But why should we want it? I don't understand what it is, but why should we want it is my question.
What is it called? Let's call the right name first. Sylvanus or Michael, you know the name.
Ivermectin, right?
Ivermectin. Thank you so much, Lord.
Right. It's about, there are a number of groups, including some people in the medical field who are thinking that it's a very good medication and it can be used and it should be used, for COVID, right? But the overall approval are, it's not given the kind of approval that is required, right? And so the government of Jamaica cannot actually import it at the moment. So there are persons in the medical field are saying, yeah, they can get their own license and import it, kind of privately. So that's the concern with it. From what I know about it, it seems to be a good medication. It might help, it's being used elsewhere. So, but at some point, it just might be used, right? It just might be used, right?
Where is it made?
Not in Jamaica.
No, it's not in Jamaica. Right? I think it's Cuba, right? I think it's something.
Oh,
not made here yet. But we have busy, and we have something that grow on tree, and it have 5 leaves looking like this, and it can answer a lot of questions.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it.
It was good.
Before we go, we have to tell you where to watch the show.
Okay.
Where
Yes,
we go to
Michelle.
watch?
Tell us.
Jamaican Canadian Association Toronto. We have our YouTube channel, so jump on it and you'll see all the events next
Can you
week.
share the link in the chat, and then I can
Give us the link. The link. What the link? You have the link.
Drop it in the chat.
What's the name?
Jamaican Canadian Association Toronto.
So what are we watching? What are we to watch?
Next week, Saturday, them have one big
Independence celebration.
Yeah, good last year.
So
Right.
Is it just 1 day? Is it 2 days?
No, man, it's 1 day. We're not doing 3 days this year.
Okay, fine. So 1 day of celebration, I'll watch it on that link.
Right. So, Michael, you're starting. Michael, you're on mute, my dear. It's your turn.
My phone was ringing, and so I had to mute it. So,
This man,
there is.
we can't have 2 conversations on the one show.
No, I'm trying not to. So on the Friday, the Ottawa Association is doing actually a Jamaican Jeopardy. So Jeopardy, yeah, they're going to do a Jamaican.
This is Jeopardy. That's it.
So our own version of Jeopardy. We used to do a joke, say, what's the most? You're not Jamaican if you don't have a friend named Conrad. What's one of the most common names and things like that. So they're going to be doing they have 3 contestants, they have a host, and they'll be doing it running through. I don't know what the topics are at the moment, but the association in Ottawa will be doing the Jamaican Jeopardy.
Okay.
And Sunday there's a church service, but the main event is on Saturday. So from 2 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. So you're going to have like a Taste of Jamaica, where we have some chefs from across 3 or 4 chefs from across Canada will be presenting meals. Somebody will be doing Irish Moss here in Montreal. Actually, there's a chef from Toronto, from Jamaica. I'm gonna just grab the name, who's gonna be doing oxtail. Anthony, it's his name there. Anthony. Anthony Cross.
Online. I'm just wanting to find out. Can we participate online? How do we watch the Jeopardy?
The Jeopardy through the Facebook page. I'm gonna have to get you the actual link, but if you look at hold on, I have all the flyer there, man. Yeah, we have to open that one day. So if you go to YouTube, and there is BIA Media, it's called, and they have their YouTube channel. It will be on the YouTube channel for BIA Media.
What? BIA Media.
Yeah, so look them up on YouTube, and you'll see their channel, and you'll be able to do the Jamaica Jeopardy as well as the Independence celebration. So we even have a tribute to the Whalers, as now no living member of the Whalers is here. So between Bob, Bunny Whaler, and Peter Tosh, so we have a little half-an-hour segment that we'll be doing. We're presenting songs from these guys. So the Montreal artists will be presenting that.
Excellent.
Thanks, Michael.
All right.
And we don't have the Whalers.
Toronto, Arsenal band in the place, ska band tearing down the place. We have elite dancers. So anybody who remember how to scan the whole 9 yards. We're gonna.
I want to be there.
We're
gonna go to Canada.
Carpenters Union, Painters Union, Grace Foods, Tourist Board. Everybody's behind us because it's Jamaica Canadian Toronto birthday, and we just Nuff and plentiful like that. Leo, thanks for having us. Sylvanos, anything?
Sylvanos, last word.
Wonderful day, right?
So we're gonna make sure we encourage people, give them the education that they need, get the job, keep the community safe. One love.
Michael, Sylvanos, Michelle, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day, and good luck with your events.
Fellow TCI, walk good. Auntie
Yes,
Missy,
walk
walk good. Michael, love you.
All right.
Okay.
No bad. All right, great. Wow, what a nice
What a morning.
discussion we had there on vaccine hesitancy.
Yes.
And we are about to turn our conversation now to a different topic, somewhat of a
Hot topic.
hot topic. And we always love the hot the hot attorney online, because it is the hottest thing in Jamaica all the time, and we love him.
Before
We love
we
when
get to the human rights, I just wanted to read something I just came across that says, how can we thank our athletes for making us proud and giving us this rich moment in history? Elaine, Shelley, Sharika, God bless you. A grateful nation salutes you.
That's very nice. Very
Yes.
nice. Just
Yes.
it. Welcome. It's Mr. Buchanan. How are you?
I'm great.
It's
I'm
good to
great.
see you again. I love that shirt.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
I'm stealing away from an engagement to ensure that I participate.
And we are happy that you did. We are very, very happy that you did. We have so many things to talk about. And between the time that we spoke the last time and today, it's been so many things have happened. So many things. Yeah, man. And we are wondering, where is our Jamaica going? One of the most uncomfortable moments I saw this week. Well, it was two. First, that there's a gentleman who came up on a video and said, it started, the video started, okay. And it cussed off Prime Minister Andrew, cussed him off, using all kind of foul language, right? But
Yes.
I didn't hear anything that he said that was threatening. But it was an uncomfortable moment because he might talk about the Prime Minister, right?
Right.
But I saw another video now with that same young man, police telling him, okay, no, you can't wear shorts. Put on long pants and da. And then the third video I saw was when they're telling him that he have to apologize. And this was the most uncomfortable part. You need to apologize. And I wonder about that particular action. Where do the police officers get the idea that they can tell someone to apologize? Lock him up, right? Execute your job, lock him up for what it is, right? So tell me, in your own way, what is going on, and where did he go wrong, the young man? Where did the police go wrong, and how can we stop this?
Right. So do we start where he went wrong?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did he do anything wrong? The short answer to that is no.
Right.
When somebody asks where did he go wrong, that's an improper question, because there was no wrong legally from what he did. There's something called action reaction. So the Prime Minister announced that he was taking back the extended freedom that the citizens have to move. And they went from 11 o'clock back to 8 o'clock, and the young man was upset, and he expressed his feelings of losing his right to move about beyond 8 o'clock. Morally, he's a young man that should have respect for his elders, so he's out of order, and that may be the conversation that we need to have in terms of where is Jamaica going? How do we have respect for our elders? You don't have to be the Prime Minister for people to respect you. If you are the helper and you're cleaning, or the street sweeper, or the garbage man, you, just by virtue of being alive longer than the other person, you are to get some respect, provided that respect is also given. So that's for the young man.
Right.
But he does have freedom of expression, which encompasses free speech. And as rude and vulgar as he was, there is no law under Jamaican law that he had broken. Not even the bad word law, in terms of how you could go about prosecuting that. The officers would have had to be in his presence and had heard that, and that was not the case.
Yes.
So there's no retroactivity. But that aside, they said that those things had nothing to do with his arrest. So
Oh,
we don't have to think about that because there was nothing on the law that warranted his arrest.
okay.
So why
Okay.
was he taken into custody?
Why was he
Well,
taking?
according to them, there was a press release that said he was wanted for questioning for larceny, and during that exchange, there was the breach of privacy. We now know how Mr. Higgins lives, what his house looks like. They went into his house. They videoed him. They videoed him at the police station before an identity parade. So they perverted the course of justice. They created public mischief by saying that he was wanted for larceny, which was not the case. He has a very live lawsuit that will be
Okay.
pending, which I would
Okay.
hope that the Attorney General will direct her offices to compensate the man and not set any form of precedent for actions like this.
So who was doing the recording?
Another officer,
Another
officer, clearly.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And that is why the commissioner, with good sense and quick response, ordered an investigation by iProbe. And so there's no question in anybody's
Right.
mind.
So Indicom, is that
No.
Indicom?
iProbe, which is the internal investigative body.
Oh,
It's independent of the JCF in that they actually investigate the officers. They can sanction them internally under the commissioner.
So are they doing that and also trying to determine for us what the man was apologizing for? Because I still try to wrap my head about what
It was, you know, it's funny because let's just say that there was nothing to apologize for.
Okay.
And in that context, the investigation is more about the breaches of the constitutional rights of the young man, and also the illegality in terms of the actions of the police. One of the things that we always listen is because you are law enforcement or you work in government, you still can commit crimes. And so the gang behavior on the part of the officers, in my view, is not a reflection of the JCF at large.
Yeah.
And what the commissioner did was a clear indication of that. So you go into the house without a warrant, you arrest him. So you take away his rights. He can't even dress himself, and you have him at gunpoint. So do not take it lightly. Even when he was apologizing, there were guns pointed.
there's a gun there. Yes, I was saying that there was a gun there.
The direction. So was he scared? Yes, he was. Should he be awarded aggravated damages and exemplary damages? Absolutely. They have mentally scarred that man, robbed him of his human dignity. And we like to think these things are a joke, but one would always think that after 400 years of slavery, there's just certain things that we would not do to each other. Unfortunately, the animal farm takes precedent, and we get worse treatment than before. And he has now experienced what I would say is post-traumatic slave syndrome, and he has relived the slave experience by that small action. And it's something in terms of the public discourse that we have to say, is this something we want for our nation? And it wasn't isolated. It has been at least 3 or 4 incidents.
I saw a Rasta guy.
So my question is, was when after the young man did what he did, right?
Yes.
Would the police be out there just looking at these videos and say, we're gonna get up and go get this guy? Or did they get an order to go get this guy? I mean, how did this happen? Well,
that is where the investigation is going. I would have in public space had invited the Prime Minister, and of course, people say he's so important and has no time for this. But I would have invited him to speak on it for several reasons. One, there's no doubt in my mind that the Honorable Andrew Holness, he is not your ordinary Prime Minister. He's actually extraordinary in that, one, his shoulder is broad. he can take criticism and he makes decisions that is, whether it is unpopular or not, he does it. And in the end, he has reaped the benefits of that. So he, like Trump and even Obama in his 8 years, things would have been said about both of those presidents, and persons weren't persecuted for expressing themselves. So that the prime minister himself is the person who is best suited to say, one, I didn't order that. I encourage, in keeping with the Constitution, freedom of expression. And though I am your prime minister and I'm the prime minister for the entire Jamaica, and I serve you, I will fix what needs to be fixed to ensure that everybody can be happy.
Yes.
So we miss the point that what our Constitution has done is to create creatures. That's what they're called. Government workers are creatures of the Constitution. The office of the prime minister has a creature in it. All government, it sounds funny because
no, Isat, man, you make them come lock way up, you know.
No.
And we have all are gonna need lawyer. Isat,
not
right there. I see this right there.
And it must never be lost.
Yes.
Is that when it comes to human rights, it lets you know that the citizen is at the top of the totem pole.
Yes.
Okay.
So the arms of the state and separation, judges, executive, legislative arms, they're all creatures of the Constitution, and they have a duty to ensure that they don't abridge, abrogate, or infringe your rights.
Right.
Unless it's
but we have to know the rights. I hear you, Isaac, but the truth is that I don't think with the loss of civics in our classrooms, with us not teaching Garveyism, with us not putting these books and making these content available, or even the Constitution itself available to the populace, then you just continue to enslave us. You say that we're 400 years after slavery. I had to look at my calendar because I think I still here.
I look at that incident, Diana, right here. I look at that incident and think about it. If Diana has the ability to decipher the Constitution, and she was in that young man's position, when the police walk in his room and he says, I know my rights.
Not in Jamaica.
Oh.
They'll still beat her down. They'll have to be up here.
No, I know my rights. You don't have a warrant. You don't. What would happen, Isaac? What would happen? What if he said, I am
not Isaac, what would happen? Let me tell you what would happen. I said, girl, you think you're bright. Put on your clothes.
I'll lick you down. And drag it out. And they will. But I have a quick question in regards to warrant.
I would be hollering. I'm calling my attorney.
I want to hear Isaac. I want to hear Isaac's response to that.
No, I mean, what would happen? Listen, what I tell people all the time, you have to be alive to be right, And so, as bad as anybody is, when the police come, I go in with you. And you're going to lock me, and you're going to do what you want. I'm just recording and documenting. I'm not even going to ask you for your name. I'm just going to look at your badge number and memorize.
You have to be alive to be right. I like that.
I said, okay, is this pants nice for you? Is this shirt the type you like? Because I have to be alive to assert my rights. Unfortunately, because I know they don't know. I just need, so I always say, have respect for the police, even when they don't have respect.
Yeah.
Two wrongs will make a right.
Yeah, I have a quick question that is always bothering me in regards to warrants. Like a lot of people in Jamaica don't really know their rights. I understand they have to just go along with the police, which is not right.
Sure.
But explain to people warrant and what right they have. When they knock on your door, what people are not aware. They just you have to open the door. You have to let them in. You have to do all of this.
No. In fact, you must always have your grill. So if you need to open your door, you say what you want. They say we need to speak to you. Say, I don't speak amongst yourselves. I don't speak to police. Then you say, do you have a warrant? No, I don't. Then have a good day. Come back when you get one. It's your
You can do that in Jamaica.
Look
can do
here,
that.
Why is
but you have to bear in mind. Look here, Leo.
That's going against the rule. That's going against your thought, though. You have to be live to be right, because they can't
No,
put the gun,
make sure so the grill locked. Them can't
But you
push
see,
in.
that is for the
Because
houses that
the
have
other
the
thing
grill.
is just simply, if there is no warrant, you don't have any duty to open the door. You don't
Okay,
have
I
to.
got you. I get
But that
That's
is
really what
no.
it is.
But I thought, let me tell you. I hear you, and yes, that is how it is. Ideally, one, no house not have no grill. No for the house them that them going to go to drag out the people don't have no grill.
You mean the poorer people?
Second, the other thing too is that when they come and they knock, boom, 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 police, who going to knock without a grill, open the door?
True.
So we
Can
have to balance
be afraid.
all of those things.
No, but that's
I
a
think what is
different
important-
question, you know. That's a different issue altogether. Because we all know now that there are two Jamaicas operating.
Yeah.
Because police not going to go to the people in gated community and go on like them is big and bad. There was an operation the other day, just the top of my street. And it seemed like they had the entire police force out there. So it's a sting
I saw that.
operation.
Yes,
So you can Google it. So
Yeah.
much police and drone and helicopter and everything to make sure that the citizens of Constant Spring aren't hurt today. So it's a different type
Careful
of
before you fall.
it's a different type of
And I think
how
we
they
can't allow
explain it.
that to escape us, that clearly there is a differentiation in how the police treat one sector of the society
That's what
versus
it-
how they treat the other sector.
That's
And
right.
I think, again, it goes back to exposing everybody to the Constitution, to Garveyism, and to what their rights are. And we need to have more conversations in small pieces, because Jamaican don't like a whole bunch sharing a knowledge one time. We need smaller sittings with Isat to say, walk us through that, walk us
I
through
agree.
that.
I totally agree with that.
I know that I saw a flyer, not that I'm stalking you, of you doing your human rights. I think it's a seminar on human rights. So do you offer that? Like, do you travel with it? You know, I feel a lot of people don't have access to internet. They can't really, access. So do you go within the communities and, like different civic groups and have little meetings or,
I've always said this. If they will have me, and you would know. I don't say no enough.
Well,
I'm always ready to share human rights.
okay, so
You don't even have to pay me. I'm always ready to talk about it because it changes the fabric of society when people know their rights.
all right.
And this is not when you said from the last time we spoke, if you know how many violations have taken
Jesus.
place, I'm tired of talking about it. In the middle of talking about this young man, you have a taxi man beating another taxi man. Human rights.
You see that one? The taxi man beating another taxi man.
Yeah, and
That was scary.
That
was scary. $100.
Not only committing a crime, you're also violating another person's human rights. And there is horizontal application of that. And so I speak about the human rights so much because I think that in Jamaica, people don't know anymore. Humanity is lost. We don't know what it is to be a human being. We don't have any concept of what human dignity is because people feel that if you don't have money and you don't have status and you don't have class, you're somehow a subhuman.
Yes.
Which is inaccurate.
And that's
Class really equates to financial worth rather than class in its truest sense.
I said, you know something? I remember that young man. Let's go back to him. I'm going to show you something real clear. I remember how bright he was when he came on. I mean, he was rude, not rude in the sense, right? But he had a voice. He felt he had a voice. He felt vibrant and thing. But when the police got in his house, his whole demeanor was just completely shattered. And then when he got into the police station, it's like a completely different young man you're looking
Mental
at.
issues.
And then I said to myself, even if he is right, when he goes back to his community, he will be a laughing stock no matter what, no matter how right he is. And to me, the police had nothing on him. But he's going to go back home and he's going to be completely shattered. He will not be that young man, that young, vibrant man that I saw in front of the video the first time.
You're correct with that. But one thing I can tell you is that when he gets his compensation, which he ought to get,
all right,
he will be okay.
All right.
So let's start right there. And I'm saying when, not if, when.
Yeah.
That is why the importance of litigation like this, to remind even the officers that when you violate rights, the states has to pay and taxpayers money. And all those people that think him out of order, yes, you pay your taxes is going to pay because he has freedom of expression.
Right.
So we can have a different way to engage. Another thing that the officers would have lost is a magical moment, to bridge the gap between the distrust from police and how to fight crime.
Yes.
You just wouldn't understand what was lost in the way they treated this young man.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of smoke screens up and a lot of political banter. The loyalists from one party saying you're not supposed to do for this, the prime minister and whatever, and the office
they
of
miss
the
the
prime
point.
minister. They're missing the point and missing the whole discussion about human dignity. There's no conversation that could be had when you strip somebody of their human dignity. What you said about him being changed, there's no amount of money that can fix him after what happened to him.
Yes, true.
That's true. During slavery, that is what they used to do to us.
Yes.
If we were too confident, if we were too, they separate us, they dehumanize us, they take us away from our families, and mentally scar us. And even though in Jamaica we don't recognize mental health as something that is seriously an issue that we ought to face. So we just send people to prison and expose them to situations that doesn't help. It doesn't foster rehabilitation. It doesn't even allow somebody to become a better person. And we don't have this conversation. So
is the police department, or will the police department use you as a workshop delivering attorney to teach police officers about human rights and
I don't think that they would hire him to do that.
Why not?
Certainly not ICE.
Why not?
No, sir. No, but seriously, they wouldn't do it. I'll say this: there are much more competent persons in Jamaica and the diaspora that can facilitate something like this. I can give you one name: Tracy Robinson.
Tracy, yes.
Anytime somebody wants human rights training, I just don't know, for the love of me, she should be hiding her name or cringe by me putting her out there. But there's no discussion in Jamaica that takes place surrounding human rights that the person who should be leading it should always be her. So if the government is interested about bringing the public sector up to speed with human rights, it should start with Tracy Robinson. She's at the University of the West Indies. She's the deputy.
We need to take that on another time. Michelle, we need to take some comments. We have so many
just one more question. Okay. After these comments. After these comments, I'm going to bring up something that you probably don't want to talk about. Nobody want to talk about.
Okay. Leroy said, I think he was violated. Keisha Jones said exactly. Leroy said, I hope he is filing a lawsuit. Yes, he is. Sanchez Sterling says, as usual, the show is #1, information galore. This is why I'm up in California. I'm early to listen in. Very, very informative and loads of laughter mixed in. Lots of love to all the panelists and fellow listeners, supporters. Nancy Brown says, human rights in Jamaica is very selective. Look how many children are living in poverty and abusive environments. Louis Abuka Blair said, please let the woman speak. Which woman? Me?
I don't know.
They was preventing me from speaking as always. Leroy said, one needs to emphasize more about human rights in Jamaica and do not sweep under the rug. The civics been taught properly. That's the last one.
All right. So well, I'm going to go back in time a little bit because I'm sure you had an opinion about this and we never called you to come on the show. All right.
Okay.
Remember the situation where allegedly a gentleman used a chair and beat a woman in a little lot there, in punch her and kick on her, all him something there, right? And what the reason I'm bringing it up is because I want you to educate, if you may, us, the general public, what took place, why there is no further action, and you know, how does one get action out of this? I guess I'm asking that question. It was a George. I'm not saying that he was, but it was the George Wright situation that we're talking about. George Wright.
Right. All right. So again, we're dealing with law and we're dealing with reality.
Yes.
If I have my little girlfriend, right, and she chat too much, and the listeners want her to speak, but I don't want her to speak, and I decide that she chat too much and I lick her with a stool.
Yes.
If she doesn't report it, they can't lock me up. That is the law. You must have a complainant.
Oh.
Even if it is on video currently. So even if let's say they had locked him up and whatever, it's his girlfriend, and if she don't want to continue with the matter, she just come and say, I can't bother, leave me and my man, and that's the end of the matter. That happens every day in the court of law. Nothing strange, nothing different.
Nothing unusual.
Nothing unusual. Domestic violence is something that we are very backward when it comes to how we treat it.
And it probably come back to the Constitution and what our rights are.
Nobody takes it serious. If I show up to the police station and say, officers help me, my woman beat me, them are gonna laugh and say, what did this dread I come talk about, he must get help. Until action reaction, when somebody is murdered, no, everybody run up and down. So when we see these incidents happen and man kill woman, you try know that many times police was involved when woman get boxed and she got down there and them said, go and go make it up with your husband. These things don't happen overnight. And so on in that reality, there needs to be a change in legislation. Now, as it relates to the same thing about with Mr. Higgins and him cursing the Prime Minister, let's talk about the moral aspect of it. It cannot be that you are placed in a position where people are to look to you as a role model and you can do what you want.
Right.
You can't just beat woman and then in parliament with the woman them and the woman them there now say nothing.
Now see nothing in the parliament. That's true, yeah.
They don't say nothing. So in my mind, I said if the women in parliament now say nothing, I don't business. I guess the thing is to get a stool and just beat woman to a woman to get beat. They don't.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
In the UK, and one of our persons, Nancy Brown, says domestic violence is another situation which is not been managed. In the UK, you decide not to press charge, you can still go forward. Is that true?
The US.
In California, yes.
Remember, the crime is against the state.
Yes.
The crime is against the state. And so when you come and decide that you want to change your mind, the evidence as is, the court can continue.
Continue the action.
In some instances in Jamaica, it is like that. For instance, if a man and a woman is fighting and he stabs her and it becomes wounding with intent,
yes,
the seriousness of the wound and the medical report is enough to continue with the matter, even if she doesn't want to continue.
All right, and I'm happy
there was one woman
some time ago in
yes,
Lonnie, where the lady was
Blackstone.
cut up, yes.
And she wanted to stop the case, but it would be an instance where though she didn't want to go any further, the court could still continue with
Yeah,
it.
and yeah,
Okay.
right. So
Okay.
once the court has the jurisdiction, much
Yes.
changes. But
Right,
at the
and I just
stage where
want,
it is with the George Wright situation,
yes,
it never even got before the court because of an investigation wasn't had. They couldn't get a
yes,
statement from the lady.
yes.
And it was a cross case. He didn't press charges. She didn't get. So if there's no cooperation, there's nothing the police
Right.
can do.
And I just wanted for the distinction to be made so that people could understand that there are instances in Jamaica where the
Yes.
court can continue, but that there are certain peculiarities that are things that would have had to happen for the court to be able to do that. Thank
Correct.
you.
But the lady that got the cut up in Trelawney by her boyfriend, the case dropped, didn't it? It didn't go
It dropped.
forward.
It's not dropped.
She wanted not to go any further as well.
Yeah, it's
She
not
wanted.
dropped.
Oh, so
It's still
the
locked
court
Based on what
Yeah.
Isaac is
going
saying,
on.
it continues.
Yeah, it's still going. It's not
okay.
dropped.
Sandra Sterling says education is a powerful tool. Know your rights.
Yes.
That's true.
You know, I want to invite Isat.
Mhm.
I'd love to be able to have you on one of our jaminars, on one of our webinars.
But you take my idea.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am?
she
I was
wanted on
gonna
the
do that for
legal
the
thing.
immigration task force.
Oh, you are? Oh, excuse
Yeah,
me.
Yes,
Sorry.
I haven't reached out yet.
Okay.
but she's reaching out
You'll
now.
back me up, and I will see. You'll violate my rights. Yes. No problem.
Okay,
My
a few
God.
more comments. Sandra Sterling said, listening to these disturbing topics brings to mind modern slavery. Rose Martin Lewis said, there is a right way and a wrong way to do, and how you verbally express yourself. Every action brings forth a reaction. If this young man was respectful, then what do you think he would have gotten back? Ultimate respect.
But guess what? What's her name?
Rose Martin Lewis.
Rose Martin Lewis, you sound so disrespectful. I just feel like we could just find you and beat you. That's the thing about language. The thing about language is we cannot become such a sensitive nature that when people are free to speak and say what they want, the response is not to go and beat them or bring back the same negativity. Sometimes you can walk away. This young man that wanted attention, if social media wasn't giving him the attention, nobody knew who he was. He hasn't done anything significant in life that warrants the attention that he got.
Yeah, that is true.
That's something that we miss, We're giving too much power to insignificant people in the social space.
Yes.
That has caused people to want to rise to fame without doing certain things, i.e., going to school, getting an education, building yourself, finding role models who actually do meaningful things in life.
Okay.
And so these are conversations that we ought to have. Instead of saying he's disrespectful, we bring this young man to significance, social significance that was not even warranted. Respectfully.
Yeah, but the thing with that, to me, it's kind of good because it let us have the conversation.
No, man, I
Because
understand.
a lot of people have been violated the same way with police officers, not all of them, but you have seen it across the board, but nobody, because even with the Rasta man, like right after him, not a lot was, I'm not sure if you saw that video.
I saw it.
Yeah, not a
About
lot.
the rest of man, I didn't see it.
Oh, something
So
with the
this is a
police.
case where he was arrested for not having his mask.
Right. The
Yeah.
one in the back of the van.
And I just gonna take this opportunity to say, you see that the Disaster Risk Management Act, it in and of itself, it's a breach of people's constitutional rights. And whenever they're ready to challenge it in the court, and it is challenged, a lot of it have to stop.
Yes.
Save and except for as it is right now, it's the best people can do in the circumstances, because you have a social responsibility to not only yourself, but to everybody. We are fighting a pandemic. The only comment I will have about arresting people for not having masks is to understand that it's not everybody going to have $50 every day to pay for a mask.
Yes.
You lock down the country, so where are they going to get the money from? People can't even go to
We're
Western
not making the
Union
mask
collect money.
available. Perhaps we
We're
should
not
have
making it
public
available
spaces
to
where
them.
people can pick
No,
up a
so
mask.
the government, instead of spending all that resources having police lock up people, have them have a box of masks and hand out the
Yeah.
mask. If
Yes,
the person don't want to wear it when the police is giving it to you, then lock you up.
they lock you up.
You can't be oppressing people, and then the fines are so
Outrageous.
$60,000 for not wearing masks, $90,000 for breaching curfew, $100,000 the second time, and then just willy-nilly, the most people can get paid.
You know, I
Minimum
don't know
wage
that
is
they're
not
willy-nilly. They went through some careful, prudent process in determining those rates. I can't have you sit here and ascribe it to willy-nilly. Willy not here and nilly not here. So stop it.
It's all right. It's all right.
Okay, I have
Next time when they call me, I'm gonna say $300,000.
And I would say how you willy-nilly appointed ascribe it.
Lorna Hamilton said, what happened if I call the police because I see a man beating a woman? The police see her on the ground bleeding. Don't they have the right to arrest him?
Yeah, they can arrest him.
Okay.
But will he be charged? Will he go to court? It's another situation.
Another thing. Yes.
But
Okay.
because the woman is wounded, they have a matter that they can.
Yeah, they
conclude.
can.
All right.
Okay, Rose Martin Lewis says, I grew up in Jamaica and I was taught respect to all. I lived in the US for a very long time and never got into any problems with the law, and so is all my siblings and children. Great. That's good, Rose.
Oh,
Keisha
brilliant.
Jones says, it's amazing how many persons believe it was totally acceptable for the police to act outside of the law because the young man was disrespectful. I have spent the past 3 days trying to explain to even educated people why behavior should never be accepted. But just wait until this injustice reaches their doorstep. I do not know this man, but I will forever speak against the injustice meted out to him. Wrong can never be right.
Amen.
Yeah, strong point. Z said 1, 2, 3 before.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go to that 1, 2, 3 right now because this
That's
is a question
right.
to you. 1, 2, 3. All right. How is it that Jamaica understood?
Leo, sorry. You know, say only have 5 minutes though. The show.
I know we don't care about the time now. We don't care about the time. The time will come up. All right.
Hey,
So,
human rights
listen.
violation. What you all
I-
Yes, Leo.
How is it that 1, 2, 3 happened? We are under extreme pressure socially, emotionally. What makes us so different that we are such a standout people? Isat, what's going on? I mean,
We don't take steroids. We
We
don't hype up
yam.
ourselves. We are individual gems that were gifted to the world by God. Naturally, each and every one of us individually are so special. That's why we mustn't abuse each other, because we are gifted. We're located somewhere close to the equator that
Alright,
gives us
guys.
superpowers. And Jamaica right now, we get 1, 2, 3, and somehow we vex because who is 1 wasn't the favorite one, and who is 2 should have been 1.
that is exactly right. Yes.
But we are so special and so blessed that sometimes the gift and the blessing is never enough for us. But we forget that a lot of times.
Yes.
And only when we're 1, 2, 3 that we command a certain amount of respect. But you best believe, maybe if them did give Mr. Higgins a chance to run.
Out of the place. Isaac, there's an opportunity for a human rights race. We can have our own race. All of the people that who suffer some measure of abuse, we're gonna put them out there and have our own.
Run, yeah. I agree. I will second that.
It's always such a pleasure to have you.
Such a pleasure.
Always. And we're so happy to have you. Please, anytime you have any free time on a Saturday morning, just jump in, and it's the same code. Just jump in and talk. You know,
Just any time, man.
I'm
I'll
not
never
wearing
say
good
no.
shirt
You
and
know
drip up in I'm good tie.
that.
all right, man. Anytime I come back to Jamaica, I am grabbing Diana and Michelle and say, okay, we need to have lunch with Isat.
Definitely.
All right.
Meat.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for a wonderful Saturday morning. We'll see you Tuesday night again. And man, I thank Isat for being here this morning. You made the morning for us. You made the day. And I'm hoping that you made Jamaica for all Jamaicans across Jamaica who feel like Mr. Higgins did.
Thanks for having me, man.
Well,
Thank
there's no
you.
way to leave
Have a
without
good one.
celebrating the Olympic win. We can't ignore that either. Let us
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Yes,
1, 2, 3. 2, 3.
A sweep.
A sweep.
No.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.